Hello everybody, welcome back. I am TheChornick, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk about Atmora. Yes, the continent to the north of Tamriel, the land that is believed to be where all the humans of Nirn, of all the Elder Scrolls, series in general, where the humans actually came from in this world. That's where they're believed to be coming from. Now, the Yokudans are said to be separate, but perhaps they once were part of Atmora as well. Maybe they broke off during the Silver War, which is pretty much one of the only known major events that happened in Atmora before Atmora froze over and all that good stuff, and all the Atmorans left and they became the Nords in Skyrim. And basically, we're mainly going to talk about that and how Atmora is now frozen and what actually happened. There's a lot of theories going on around about it. Before I begin, though, I like to say that the land south of Tamriel, with the Sea Elves, I believe they're called, the Moram, or something like that. I'm terrible with pronouncing names. But yes, I accidentally skipped over them. But I will do and go over their land next week, and then I'll have Akabir the week after that to finish off the season with, and then perhaps I'll go and move on to another video, probably about what I exactly want in the Elder Scrolls game. But anyway, let's go back to Atmora now, shall we? Now, Atmora, like I said, was basically the homeland of the humans, where all the humans kind of came from before they reached Tamriel. And basically, currently though, Atmora is frozen over. It looks like a giant iceberg. All the expeditions that came to Atmora from Tamriel, all of them returned saying the place just looks like a giant iceberg. It is not habitable anymore. And pretty much just like the past continents, it's just not, there, or it's just destroyed. It's not habitable. Obviously, Atmora is still there. It's just a big, huge glacier is all it is. But how it happened is kind of up to debate, and with the speculation and all, and what happened to the population there. Obviously, the most logical answer is that they just died because of the climate, the harsh climate. But as we know, the Nords are very good with cold weather, so obviously the Nords came from Atmora, where the place is just freezing. And there's also all these other rumors about how they might have just all died out because of the Silver War, and that they perhaps just left Atmora because it just wasn't a happy place to live in. It was just so cold that everyone just decided to leave. Now, the Atmorans probably looked a lot like the Skull, in my opinion. I think that's the most logical, is that they probably looked a lot like the Skull because the Skull is the most traditional Nords that we know of. They live in Solstheim. So probably their armor and clothing is probably what the Atmorans wore when they lived in, obviously, Atmora. That's what I think they looked like. Now, if we're gonna go into more of their lore here, basically there was a huge bloody Civil War, which is pretty much one of the only events known to have happened in Atmora. And this bloody Civil War led to the humans wanting to leave the continent. And this is where the legendary soldier Iskamor comes into play here. Him, his sons, and his group of 500 companions fled to Tamriel, basically, to find a new home because they did not wish to be involved in the Civil War and they wanted to get away from it. They landed in Skyrim, and they made friends with the Mer there, the Snow Elves, otherwise known as the Falmer or the Betrayed, which they later became to be. But they made friends with these elves, and they were really happy with all these elves. They were big, huge lions, all happy, all good. But then all of a sudden, the humans started multiplying, in the numbers, drastically. And so the Snow Elves got really concerned about this, and they thought that the humans would get so big in population that they might try to overthrow them, and that they're just going to become a huge threat to the Snow Elves. So what did the Snow Elves do? They hunt down all the humans and try to kill them all. And so that was kind of a bad idea, because the humans, the ones that survived, Iskamor, his two sons, and a couple other of the companions, left back to Atmora. And when they went back to Atmora, they found out that the Civil War was all over, and that it was pretty much a peaceful land now. So obviously, when they returned, they told all the Atmorans, all their friends, about what happened in Skyrim, what happened in Tamriel, And all of the Atmorans obviously were excited about this, and were also angry at the Snow Elves, and they wanted to get revenge, and they agreed to join Ysgramor in basically invading Tamriel again. And when they did, all the Atmorans came over and pretty much just obliterated the Snow Elves and either drove them underground to where they eventually took coverage with the Dwemer and eventually became the Betrayed or the Falmer. And the others were just pretty much driven off into other parts of Tamriel and or killed. So basically that's what happened. And since then, people wanted to move to Tamriel because Atmora was just not a happy place. It was just so cold up there, and that's what a lot of people believe actually just happened, is that all the population just left Atmora, and then whatever remained were pretty much killed due to the climate and it being frozen over and all that. So pretty much at this point there is no inhabitants there because it is just a giant glacier. There's nothing useful there. Besides just like, unless you're like having some ice pricking job or something. I don't know. But you understand what I'm saying. But so basically that is all that's left. Now in terms of if we have an Atmora game, obviously I think Atmora would have to be warmer, have to, you know, melt, I guess, to actually have a game there, or actually have like a DLC or something there. Or perhaps maybe there's some speculation saying it's just some supernatural force that's doing it, that's keeping it frozen or something like that. Obviously, there's a lot there before. It looked like Skyrim, but even more so. It had a lot of winter, tundra, forests, and all that. But that's all we kind of know at the moment. Currently, the last known person to have fled Atmora was apparently Tiber Septim, otherwise known as Talos, but that is kind of a misconception because a lot of people believe that he actually came from High Rock. But our main concern about this is, will Atmora possibly be a future game for the Elder Scrolls? In my personal opinion, I don't think so. I find it highly unlikely. The place is frozen. I find it the least likely out of all the continents, even Yakuta, because the place is just frozen and no one wants to be there or go there, and I just find it so unlikely. The only possible way that I think they would release an Atmora game is if it's the next one, if it's Elder Scrolls 6, because it would be so similar to Skyrim and so similar to all the Nords, the whole Nord deal. So pretty much that's all I could really say about that. I highly doubt it ever being a game, or even a DLC at that. So sorry to say for all you Atmora fans, but that's what I think. I don't think it's going to be a game at all. But this video is mainly about the lore that I will state. But if they did have a game on it, what would it actually be about? What would be the main quest? Obviously, I don't really know. Maybe it could just be about returning to Atmora and trying to set up, you know, a civilization there or something. That's all I could really say or think of at the moment. Unless they fast forward in time and the place, you know, melted and they already have a civilization there and there's some other like mysterious forest that they have to take out. That's all I could really think of in terms of what could be a plot there. But so that's why I think this is just a highly unlikely chance that this could be a game. Sorry to say about that. But I'll say a couple other facts here before I end the video. Now, Atmora, the only known city to have been in Atmora, the only known one currently, was a place called, oh my gosh, I'm going to try to pronounce this, was a place called Yolkurfik, something like that. But yes, the place was a massive city in Atmora, and it's one of the only cities known to have existed in Atmora. But there is also another fact about Atmora I have, is that the place had a whole lot of docks. It was a huge like ship kind of city, ship kind of continent at that. Like all along the coastline there was all sorts of like docks and all that, and so they had like a massive fleet, and that's why there's so many people leaving and migrating to other places on Nirn, because you know they moved around so much. These Atmorans did. They kept leaving, you know, invading and all that good stuff. There's other theories about what actually happened to Atmora. Perhaps it was some other group from Akavir that invaded them. There's all these other like theories, but the most likely is just the fact that, you know, they just left because it was freezing over. That's all I have to say about that. But thanks, guys, for watching. If you have any input, please post in the comment section below. Any questions you have for me or for anybody else, please post in the comment section below. Any input would help this video. Thanks, guys, for watching. I love you all. Next week, I'll go back down to the Sea Elf homeland, and then after that, I'll go to Akavir. And then after that, I would probably go off and do my my final video, which will be about everything that I predict for the Elder Scrolls 6 and for the future of the franchise. But thanks, guys, for watching. I love you all. I can't wait to see you in the next video, and peace out! Thank you very much.